Hey, this is Brett the Hitman Hart, the best there is, best there was, and the best there ever will be. And you're listening to the Smacked Raw podcast.
Hey, how's it going, everyone? And welcome to the Smack Raw podcast, your one-stop shop for all your wrestling news, recaps, pay-per-view predictions, all that other good stuff. Today, we're going to be recapping tonight's NXT episode. I'm joined here by Jay Thunder and Kevin. How's it going, guys?
What's up?
Chilling.
All right.
How's it going with you, bro?
Hey, bro. It's going very well. We had a really solid show, and I can't wait to talk about it. But we don't just want to talk about the show amongst ourselves. We also want to talk about the show with all of you, and we'd love to interact with all of you on Twitter at SmackRockPod. You can find me on Twitter at SCSVince. Jay, where can people find you?
Well, you guys can find me on Instagram at JThunder2009, and you also guys can find me on JThunder2009 on Twitter.
Sweet. And
Snapchat, I'm not gonna give you guys.
You gotta earn Snapchat. Kevin, where can people find you online?
You gotta earn that.
You can find me at Kevin Crazy 316, and that's crazy with a K.
Sweet. And also, go ahead and find the show wherever you can consume all your podcasts. Podbean, Stitcher, Spotify, Google Play, Apple Music, iTunes, all that other good stuff. YouTube, comment down below the video. Let us know what you thought of today's show. Like the video, subscribe, help us reach 100 subscribers. So with that being said, we got all the plugs out of the way. Guys, NXT in a nutshell.
Wait. Hold on. I personally prefer Spotify.
Spotify is actually...
Okay, you can go.
Spotify is actually my go-to. But with that being said, we got the plugs out of the way. Guys, in a nutshell, what did you guys think of today's episode of NXT?
I really enjoyed it, man. Yeah, I really enjoyed it, like top to bottom. I thought it was really, really good. Haven't been on the NXT podcast for a while, so I'm pretty excited to talk about it.
Yeah, so that's one thing that I am kind of excited about. So for those of you guys that maybe have not tuned in weekly, we do our AEW and NXT podcast separate. We have two different teams. Kevin has been exclusively AEW ever since AEW started with Dynamite, and we haven't seen you on NXT in a while. So we've missed you here on the NXT side of things.
Aww.
And I'm actually looking forward to see what you thought of today's show. Not because like, you know, like I don't appreciate Jay on the show, but you're someone that...
I was just about to say, I was like, what you trying to say? Because, you know, I'm sorry. You know what? I'm so sorry that I missed last week's show. I had to go to work, man. What do you want me to do?
No, it's more of I haven't really listened into like Kevin on the storylines developing on NXT, so I'm really intrigued to see what you think of what things. Jay, before we start going into things like step by step on the show, what did you think in a nutshell?
In a nutshell, I think it was definitely a great show.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like NXT, from ever since it came on to the USA, it's been ratings have just been going up. There hasn't been a dull moment in NXT since it came on to the network.
For sure. Kevin, do you watch NXT weekly? I know you cover AEW. Do you like watch it after the fact the next day, or have you missed an episode here and there?
Well, I missed last week. I missed everything last week except for SmackDown, which really sucked. But no, SmackDown was cool, but it was, it sucked.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I thought SmackDown was pretty good.
that was probably the best SmackDown ever.
That was like the highlight of the week.
No. SmackDown was fire, but I missed everything. But that's the only episode that I missed lately of NXT was last week's. So I'm pretty up to date with what's going on.
Okay.
I will say this though, it is like extremely hard to with this whole now with wrestling now, because you got Monday, especially this week of all weeks, because you got Monday with Raw. You get a little small little break on Tuesday, but then you got Wednesday, you got NXT and AEW. Then you get a small little break on Thursday. Friday, you got SmackDown. Saturday, if I'm not mistaken, there's no takeover, right?
Not this week, but this Saturday is AEW's
But this,
Yep.
Full Gear, their pay per view.
but
So
at on Sunday it's Survivor Series. So
yeah,
that's what I'm saying.
so
Is
it's
it this Sunday?
yeah,
thought it
Well,
Full
they
was
Gear.
said it was they said it was this week.
So yeah,
Oh,
so
maybe.
AEW's Full
Jesus.
Gear is actually this Saturday. So we're gonna have a lot of
Yeah.
wrestling to talk about. We're probably gonna do a predictions episode for AEW, but we're not here to talk about AEW. That's on the other podcast. Let's get started in talking about NXT. And guys, NXT started off in a bang, cause it was Mauro Ranallo doing the standard doing introduction to NXT while the NXT crowd's in the background. He was saying that we knew there was going to be retaliation with NXT invading both Raw and SmackDown. And sure enough, the OC came in and just laid out Undisputed Era in the backstage area. The one thing that really stood out to me here was when I believe it was Bobby Fish, he was smacked against the truck, the side of a truck, and it looked like he vomited blood onto the side of the truck. But one of my friends pointed out to me that the WWE crew left the ketchup bottle on the table, and he pointed out they legit probably just used ketchup for that blood spot, and just that was the cheapest way to do it. And I didn't notice it until he told me about the ketchup spot. I thought that was hilarious. The OC coming out and just laying out Undisputed Era, and then making their way to the ring to the NXT crowd. I thought that was really cool. That was a really good, interesting way to start off the show. Because I was outside of my room. I had to go and do something. I came back and I saw the OC in Full Sail, and I'm like, wait, hold up, time out, hold up, wait, what just happened? Yeah. I legit during the commercial break, I actually went on my phone and started the episode over while the episode was going live on my TV. I was trying to figure out, wait, hold up, why are the OC here? So I started off backpedaling into this episode. But Kevin, with this with the whole OC thing, you knew there was going to be some interference from Raw or SmackDown on NXT. Did you expect the OC to just show up and lay out Undisputed Era like that?
No, but I thought it was awesome. I just thought it was a cool way to start the show, like you did, like you said, with especially with the last week with the NXT dudes, invading Raw and SmackDown. You knew that there was going to be something that was going to happen,
right?
And why not the OC,
And what I really liked about that is that one of the things that I've always been salivating about is seeing the matchup of the OC versus Undisputed Era. Everybody's been talking about maybe seeing that dream match happening. Jay, dude, what was going through your mind when you saw this?
I guess it was obvious to me because of the fact that both Raw and SmackDown had already got invaded. I knew somebody was gonna, invade NXT. I liked how it started. It was perfect to me.
Right.
It was good. I feel like it was a nice, foundation to set up for everything happening in Survivor Series.
Right, and it also was a good foundation to set up the tone for the rest of the evening because they didn't waste any second, because right after they cut a little bit of a promo by AJ, Tommaso Ciampa's music hits and he kind of welcomed them to NXT. He's saying something along the lines everybody's always been asking, when you're going to be called up, but here's the thing, boys, this is the main roster. NXT has for the longest has been the top brand in all of WWE, and he called it Daddy's home because he is Daddy. So according to Ciampa, he is NXT's daddy. And I don't know. So he cut a really good promo. He challenged the OC, and then even AJ gave him props, okay, you have balls for coming out here because no one else wanted to step up to the OC, but you did. But there's three of us and there's one of you. I like our chances. You can't do nothing to us. And sure enough, Keith Lee and Matt Riddle make their way to the front of the stage and setting up the match that was later gonna be our main event. The OC taking on Tommaso Ciampa, Matt Riddle, and Keith Lee. Guys, dude, You have no idea how cool it is to see Ciampa and AJ Styles going at it on the mic, and just to see AJ in NXT in general, because he skipped NXT when he joined WWE. Usually, like even guys like Samoa Joe, they went through NXT and then went to main roster. Right. He was one of the few people that just skipped NXT, and guys, he fits right in. I don't know about you.
Yeah. That was awesome. That was so awesome.
Jay, okay.
I just feel like Oh no, sorry about that.
No, I was actually about to like ask you like for some input. Go ahead.
Yeah, no. I'm going along the lines of what Kevin said. It's AJ felt like he fit right in. It just worked, but you know it's so hard. Like I kind of in a way I'm happy that AJ kind of like skipped over it because it would have like. I guess it would have like overshadowed a lot of things, especially a whole bunch of talent. Because to be quite honest with you, there's so much talent on NXT.
Right.
Like it's so much talent that it's not even funny.
It's disgusting.
Like, I mean, exactly. It's like so much talent on there. It's like it's ridiculous how much talent it is there. And then when they keep adding talent, it's just like, okay, so what are you guys gonna do when like you got all these people that are good? What are you just gonna continuously have them perform, and then who's gonna have title shots?
I mean,
after a while,
you're mentioning that like NXT is just loaded, and they've showed us that tonight, because right after that we had the first match of the night, which was Pete Dunne versus Damian Priest. Guys, both of these guys are really good. And here's the thing, I keep saying this, I was not a fan of Damian Priest when he was Punishment Martinez in Ring of Honor, but man, do I love his work here in NXT. I think the matchup with him and Pete Dunne was great. They're both brutal, they're both vicious. Man, like, dude, I can't sing the praises of like the depth of NXT's roster right now, like it more than I am right now. Like,
no, I hear you, man. Because like, maybe in a couple years that could be like, a main event at a takeover. You know what I'm saying? And we're getting it as the first match on a weekly show, and it was a banger. It's just crazy.
I mean, it's been a couple weeks, but did you, when you were on the NXT podcast, did you remember seeing more of Damian Priest's work? Because I think if you did catch him, he was mostly doing squash matches. This is the first time. Yeah. Was this like since you've seen him develop slowly and just get better in the ring, just have more good matches? Like, what's your overall take on Damian Priest?
Yeah, I mean, I like him, but yeah, I mean, well, I did see the first match that he had with Pete Dunne a couple weeks ago, which was good too. I mean, I like him. I like his character. I think his entrance is super cool. I love the Archer stupid stuff that he does. Yeah, I mean, and like you said, I think that him and Pete Dunne, they obviously have a lot of chemistry in the ring. They're both brutal, and they like to beat the shit out of each other. It's awesome, so get them in the ring more as far as I'm concerned.
Definitely. Jay, like this is the second time you've seen them go at it, and like Damian Priest is a big guy for sure. Being a big guy in wrestling, like, what's your take on him?
So this is like we were talking about, this is the second time I've seen Damian Priest in action. Like the impressive level that I have for him is still going up, because I feel like he's doing a great job. That Falcon Arrow was pretty dope.
Not even that crucifix bombs that he hit.
Crucifix bomb, yes. Yeah. Any big guy that can, fucking fly and do a freaking plancha.
Keith Lee doing a tope con hero on freaking Raw on Monday too. Like,
yeah,
dude, what is it with NXT just finding these big guys that can fly?
Yeah, I just love the fact that Ricochet did it, but man, Keith Lee, god damn.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll talk more
Yeah.
about Keith Lee when we get to the main event because, like, the guy looks like a total stud and a superstar in the making, especially the way the crowd treats him. But man, going back to this match, it was one of those things where it was a brutal showing by both Pete Dunne and Damian Priest. These guys leave nothing for the imagination. They will literally kick the crap out of you and will not think twice about it. What I liked was the finish though, where Damian Priest I think was gonna go and try to like pick up Pete Dunne. Pete Dunne goes for the fingers, tries to do his patented finger snap. It forces Damian Priest to like backtrack and lean towards the corner turnbuckle, and he gets right between the turnbuckle, like between him and the turnbuckle is the ref, so he's kind of like distracted, so he's kind of like in the fetal position in between him and the turnbuckle, and Damian Priest tries to take advantage of the situation much like he did in their first match where he low blowed Pete Dunne for the win. This time Pete Dunne had him scouted, caught him, reversed it. He low blowed Damian Priest for his troubles, and then transitioned into a cross arm breaker, which is different for me because normally I'm used to seeing Pete Dunne ending matches with the bitter end, but him making Damian Priest tap out was really cool to see. And it's just interesting because NXT is kind of doing a thing where they don't like super push someone, kind of like they did with Aleister Black or even like Baron Corbin when they started. They don't just like give everybody like undefeated streaks and then like become Asuka, and then when they finally lose, people are just like shitting on it. They're making everyone feel like equals. So like Pete Dunne lost to Damian Priest the first time. Like shit, like Pete Dunne came over from NXT UK and his first couple matches were losses, putting people over. And that's one thing that I'm liking about the setup right now. It does legit feel like it's a wild west feel in NXT where like it's survival for the fittest. Everyone can win, anyone can come out on top. And speaking of Wild West, freaking Killian Dane comes in after the match and just lays out Pete Dunne, poor Pete Dunne. And then Damian Priest thought, oh, well, I'll just chime in here and beat up Pete Dunne too and help out Killian Dane. Killian Dane's like, nah, get out of here, bro. Gets him out of the ring. Tries to like just attacks Pete Dunne a little bit more. Then when he goes to the outside, Damian Priest tries to get his revenge for Killian Dane. Doesn't work out to his advantage because he ends up getting hit with a cannonball into the steel steps, which was just vicious.
Yeah.
So I think we might be setting up for a triple threat match, perhaps. Because
if tonight was any indication, give it to me, man. That was awesome.
Because they were slowly starting to build up Killian Dane and Pete Dunne 3 weeks ago. And last week there was more build up. Today we saw Killian Dane is clearly not done with Pete Dunne, and Damian Priest and Pete Dunne probably aren't done either because they're over here like trading wins 1-on-1. There has to be a blow off. This kind of feels like they're doing Keith Lee versus Dijak all over again. But I like it. It's cool, and they're incorporating 3 big characters, 3 strong acts on NXT, and that might be a takeover match. That because you need takeover matches because the majority of the titles are going to be in war games matches, and there's going to be 2 of those. So you're gonna have the main titles wrapped up elsewhere. The only title that might be defended might be the NXT Cruiserweight title or the Women's Tag titles. But again, it's one of those things where you have to have interesting feuds with a strong story to have people engaged. Just like you look at matches like Velveteen Dream versus Aleister Black. It was literally all about Aleister Black saying Velveteen Dream's name, and it was one of the hottest angles in all of NXT and all of wrestling probably at that time. And they built a match just on that concept alone. And they're gonna need to do interesting and creative stuff to like build matches for NXT. Given that again we don't have like too many title matches, and usually that's how takeovers are. It's literally all the title matches plus some rivalry match. But if we get this match, this is either gonna be a match on NXT or takeover. Either way, I want to see it. Give it to me. I want more of that for sure. Jay, before we move on to the next segment, anything you want to add to this whole like Damian Priest, Pete Dunne, Killian Dane triangle triple threat thing going on?
I honestly like the fact that they're using Killian Dane. Um, he's like, well, you know what, Vince, you know how I feel about big guys. So, big guys that can actually move and are actually not, the average big guy. I'm all down for it.
For sure.
For the most part, I do. I like this match. I think it would be great. I think it could be something that would be able to get the crowd. It'd be something different too. I mean, I think like for the most part, like has Pete Dunne been used at all? Um, or just in NXT in general, or has he been in, or have they been keeping him over in the UK?
For the most part, it's been a case where he's jumped and like floated in between brands. When he became NXT UK champion, he was primarily in NXT UK, especially once it became a thing. He was their top guy. Slowly, recently, he's transitioning over to NXT, just like a lot of UK people are, like Tyler Bate, Rhea Ripley. They're all slowly coming over. Even like
that's what I was kind of getting into. That was the same thing I was gonna say, like Tyler Bate and Rhea Ripley. Like I like how the WWE is like, NXT, because I can't really because that's a whole different brand. But I love how NXT is actually using those superstars for their brand, especially 205. Man, I love it.
Speaking of 205, did you guys catch? I mean, we're not doing the segue into the cruiserweight match just yet, but did you guys just yet? But did you guys notice that today they were doing tapings for 205 Live in Full Sail? There were images going around on Twitter that Full Sail was hosting 205 Live tapings. So that's an interesting note. We did have a lot of 205 Live feel into the show, but we'll get to that once we get to that point. Shortly after the whole Damian Priest, Killian Dane, Pete Dunne debacle, we had Dakota Kai have an interview with, I believe, Kathy Kelly, if I'm not mistaken, and she was they were basically talking about how during WWE's YouTube show, The Bump, hosted by Caleb Braxton, they officially made picks for Team Baszler and Team Rhea Ripley. And Rhea Ripley ended up picking Tegan Nox and Candice LeRae. Baszler ended up picking Bianca Belair and Io Shirai, leaving one spot for each team available, and Dakota Kai wasn't picked. So her whole thing was like she was trying to like prove that she's worthy of being on the team. And Shayna even said that she wouldn't have picked Dakota Kai because she would have been a waste of a pick in her eyes. And she was going to try to like prove Shayna Baszler wrong because she had a match with Baszler later that night. And she was going to use that match to prove to Shayna that you should have picked me. I'm a solid choice to be in a War Games team. You're going to regret that. And we saw that unfold later on. But before we got to that, we had a women's women's division match between Tainara and the debuting Santana Garrett. So, Kevin, do you know of Santana Garrett, or is she completely new to you?
Totally new. First time I've ever seen her. I think I've only seen Tainara like one other time too. So both of them are very new to me. Honestly.
All right. Jay, what any Santana Garrett knowledge beyond tonight?
No, like she is completely new to my knowledge. It's literally just like seeing a new superstar. And you know what? To be quite honest with you, like for seeing her for the first time, because I know you're gonna get into the match. Like she didn't do too bad at all. Right.
I mean, I don't know too much. I'm not gonna sit here and claim to be some kind of Santana Garrett like know-it-all or like some
unlike him being an Angel Garza know-it-all.
Okay,
but we're not gonna get into that just yet.
But look, yeah, I don't have all the Santana Garrett facts in my disposal, but I do know she's a great worker. She's a veteran. She's been doing this for years. I've seen her wrestle a couple times here in Chicago, especially with Warrior Wrestling. So it's good to see her like get that highlight. She was also, I believe, in both the first and the second Mae Young Classic tournaments. So that's where I know her of. And I'm just glad that she got signed. I'm just glad. I think she's actually been signed for a while, and this is the first time she's actually been used on TV. Tainara, though, she's actually dropped the last part of her name, and she's actually improved in the ring because of it. I don't know if it's the name change or it's just more reps, but overall, I'm very impressed with Tainara. I think she's very good.
However,
Mm-hmm.
however, I just would like to point out in that match, you could not you could kind of see it. I mean, you kind of cannot see it, but if we're trying to pull off a face heel thing, Tainara was not doing it like she was supposed
to. What do you mean by that? Because you kind of
because it seemed like because the funny thing about it is that you can kind of tell when a person is a heel or a face,
mm-hmm.
and at the end of the match, she kind of seemed like she was embracing the crowd, but it wasn't like a embrace like a heel embrace. It was like it seemed like she was smiling. Like I guess I'm so used to like she seems like the way that she smiles and the way that she does everything. It just seems like a face, but she's supposed to be a heel.
I mean,
yeah, I hear you. I hear you because I kind of thought the same thing too. To be honest, like. At the very end of the match, I was like, shouldn't she like flip the crowd off or something? I don't know. You know what I mean?
Because she just literally looked like she looked like she was a face, and I was like,
yeah.
I thought she was a heel. Who's the face? Who's the heel? Like, what's going on?
Yeah.
What's going on?
So based on how I interpreted the match, it felt to me like Santana Garrett was supposed to be the babyface with Tainara Conti. I cannot pin down if she's supposed to be a babyface or a heel. Match by match. So literally like one match she could be playing the heel, the other match she can be playing the face. Maybe that's just me not paying attention enough, but I do not know whether she's a babyface or a heel. I like legit do not know. And so like I completely agree with you. Like I didn't even think about that during the match itself because I was just focusing on the match, the product within, but I didn't even peep that like it should have like been a clear face heel dynamic there, and there really wasn't. Overall, I thought the match was solid. I thought it was pretty good. Tainara hit a lot of really cool stuff, and so did Santana Garrett. She did very well. Obviously, she's been doing this for a while, and it was nice to see Tainara pick up a win here. She hit this really cool V-trigger when Santana Garrett was like prone against the ropes, and then to like end off the match, she had like this vicious Brazilian kick to finish off Santana, and I like it. I think it's cool. I like her whole gimmick. I like her whole gear. I like her whole presentation. I feel like she's still not like all there in terms of defining whether she's a heel or a face or who she is, but maybe that's just me not paying attention. Maybe they've been laying down the groundwork and I just haven't noticed. So
I don't know.
I mean, someone that's kind of like hard to not notice is Tony Nese, especially with him having like the 8 abs that he has that he tends to count almost every time he's on screen. They did a little like vignette for him saying that he was going to be in action on NXT for an opportunity to the Cruiserweight title. So we had a teaser for that. And from there, we had Shayna Baszler in the background, like in the bowels of the arena, like over there training with the horsewomen, setting up setting up for the match against Dakota Kai next. And so that was the next match. But before we went into it, we had another Angel Garza vignette. You know, I love me some Angel Garza content. And they confirmed that they confirmed that it was indeed going to be Angel Garza taking on Tony Nese later to determine the number 1 contender for Lio Rush's NXT Cruiserweight Championship. But then they also gave us the little like match graphics for the 2 Survivor Series brand warfare matches that have been confirmed. We have a triple threat match between Shayna Baszler, Bayley, and Becky Lynch.
Bayley better win. Bailey better win. Bailey better win. I don't care. Bailey better win. This heel turn is it. I don't care. Bailey. Pam better win. I don't care. She better win.
I'm in agreement.
Wow.
I think Bailey should win. I think for me, she should be the person that gets the win here. We'll see what happens. I know we were talking on the podcast, Kevin, with Kyle, and he was given the impression that Bailey was just in this match to take the pin, which I didn't get that impression whatsoever. But everybody
First
interprets.
of all, hold up, wait a minute. First of all, Becky better take the fucking pin. I don't care what nobody says. She better take the pin. Becky better take the pin. I don't care. I love Becky. I think she is the greatest. She has done a lot, but I think it's about to that time. Like, Becky needs to take the pin because I don't want Shayna to take the pin because she's been rocking it in NXT. How long has she been champion?
Since
Forever?
she won the title at Evolution. That was over a year ago.
but even before then.
Before then,
like,
she
when
had
she-
like a
'cause she
couple
lost
month
it.
reign because she lost it to Kyrie. She only wasn't champion for maybe a couple months, maybe 2 months tops, and then she regained the title. So you can clearly say she's been champion for almost 2 years.
Almost 2 years.
Collectively,
Yeah,
she's
that's what
been
I'm
a
saying.
champ for almost 2 years. She's been the most dominant. As much as dominant that Asuka was, Shayna can be argued as the most dominant women's champion or women's wrestler in NXT history. And
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
here's the thing, I don't think she should take the loss. I also don't think she should win. I do feel like it's a case where if someone takes the pin, it should be Becky. And here's the thing, to add to your point, Jay, if Bailey's the one to pin Becky, that could set up for a horsewomen match at WrestleMania. So,
I'm just saying.
another.
Like I said, it's hard for me to sit here and not say something about Bailey because she's I as much as I do love Hugger's gonna hug Bailey because she's just a joy and she brings light into my life. This new heel, it's just kind of like just how the Usos were when they turned heel. Man, it was everything. It was everything. Now that Bailey's heel, it's just like, Bailey, this is what you needed. This is exactly what you needed. You need to show everyone in SmackDown and in Raw that you got what it takes. Hugger's gonna hug, but Hugger's gonna kick some ass.
For sure.
That's all I'm saying.
The other match announced for Survivor Series is also gonna kick ass because it's gonna be the Viking Raiders, Raw Tag Team Champions, SmackDown Tag Team Champions, Revival, and NXT Tag Champs, Undisputed Era, Bobby Fish and Kyle O'Reilly. That match is gonna be good. I have no idea who could win that. That legit is a toss up for me. When we do our predictions episode, I'm legit not sure what's gonna happen there.
Right.
But we'll say
You know what? I'm gonna leave it. I'm gonna nope.
We'll save that for a predictions episode, Jay. We'll save that for a predictions
Yeah.
episode.
We'll save that. We'll save
All
that.
right.
Because you already know how I feel.
Okay.
You already know how I feel. What's up?
Yeah. Okay.
We're not gonna say
So, I do want to know how you feel about this next match, though. Dakota Kai versus Shayna
Oh.
Baszler. What did you
Yo.
take away from this match? Okay, you're a wrestler, obviously. You can obviously pinpoint and pick out the story of a match better than any one of us on the podcast. To you, what was the story of this match, and do you think they executed it?
Well, the story was that Dakota Kai was that underdog because of the fact that she's coming back from this injury. And not only that, we with everything that had been said before the match, she didn't get picked to, be in this Survivor Series, match for NXT. So I think for the most part, they set that up pretty good. And then even in the match itself, I loved every moment of that match because it was just a lot of storytelling. It was really good. The beginning of the match was her literally getting the one up on Shayna, and it was good. Like every part of that match, I almost thought that Dakota Kai was gonna win.
Yeah.
I did. I really did. I thought that she was gonna win because I was like, yo, she done been through an injury. She's been through a very hard injury to say the least.
Right.
And it was just I had a moment where I thought I was like, yes, she's gonna win. She's gonna win. She's gonna win. And then
Yeah.
it just sucked up. It was literally just
Isn't that like
I
the
really they did a good job of making me want to like I was like I felt for Dakota Kai, and that was what that was what she was supposed to do. That's what they were supposed to do. So
I mean, isn't that like a standard Shayna Baszler match at this point, where like she gets you so invested, you're rooting for the babyface or whoever she's facing. You're like, yes, she's gonna lose. This is finally when Shayna Baszler lose, and then old reliable that Kurofuda clutch comes in clutch, locks it in towards the end of the match. Dakota Kai got out of the initial attempt, hit a super kick, was trying to mount some kind of an offense to get the win. Eventually, Shayna locked it in again. She fought as long as she could, but in the end, Dakota Kai tapped out.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I was hoping that she would have pulled a Bianca Belair where she literally just fainted.
Mm-hmm.
And didn't tap out.
But see, here's the thing. I don't want that to be used all the time. Only certain people should be doing the whole fainting or passing out instead of tapping out like bit.
Yeah.
Because if that's the case, if everybody just taps out or if everybody just passes out, then it doesn't become impactful anymore. It doesn't have the same meaning, I don't think. So,
I mean, that's true. I get that. But the only thing about it was that Dakota Kai had fought out of it like already.
Right.
So it's kind of like it could have worked. Like it'd be different if she literally locked it in, and she just fainted out of nowhere. She only locked it in one time.
Right.
But Dakota Kai had already locked it in for this was a second time, so she literally could have like just fainted.
Right.
She really could have.
I mean, it felt like she kind of gave up towards the end of that match and just felt defeated.
That's what I'm saying. It just felt that, and I was like, no, like that tap out was like super quick.
For sure. I mean, it was a little dragged out, but man, I get what you're saying. But you can't always have like that kind of finish, I guess. Here's the thing. I didn't think it was too bad. I was disappointed with the end result because I really was rooting for Dakota Kai, because if she beats Shayna, that does two things. It proves that she deserves to be on Team Rhea and is in War Games for that match, and also probably gets a title match because she pinned the women's champion. So that was something that was setting up. It didn't lead that way. What this match did set up was the horsewomen going and attacking Dakota Kai. After the match, they were ganging up on her. Rhea Ripley, Candice LeRae, and Tegan Nox went out to try to make the save. I believe Rhea Ripley made it all the way to the ring, but Tegan Nox and Candice,
they made it halfway. They made it halfway to the ring and they got attacked.
Yeah, no. So, I think Rhea went. I think Rhea got all the way there, and then Candice, as she was making her save, went ahead and got attacked from behind by Io Shirai. So then Io Shirai is attacking Candice. Tegan Nox sees what's happening. She comes back to try to save and help out Candice. But then Bianca comes out. Bianca comes out and lays them out. They're going back and forth. And at this point, Rhea and Shayna are both in the ring. They're brawling back and forth. It's mayhem. Shades of last week where like they're just brawling all over the place. But there was a big key difference tonight. Mia Yim.
Yes.
Awesome.
Mia Yim came out with a kendo stick and just went to work. She laid out the horsewoman. She laid out Io. She laid out Bianca. She was at the in the ring. She went to go check up on Dakota Kai. Tegan Knox and the rest of Team Rhea Ripley went ahead and checked up on Dakota. And they looked like they legit were concerned for her, but Dakota like kind of had this look like disappointed in herself and very discouraged that she didn't get the job done in the match, but also needed help again to like get the upper hand on Shayna. And it's just a little like slow burn. It's a slow burn storytelling that they've been doing, and I like it.
You know what? It would be nice if, because I feel like I think that they should lone wolf Dakota Kai. That'd be kind of nice.
Well,
that'd be kind of nice. Like she doesn't mess with anybody. Like she's by herself. She's like, I work alone.
Yeah,
since no one wanted me when I was there. You know what? I'm by myself, and I think it would work for her.
I mean, okay. I was gonna say this for
shout out to Mia Yim. Shout out to Mia Yim. If she happens to be listening, when we get to like 100 followers, just check me out, J Thunder 2009. Just saying. But anyway,
I mean, man. Gotta shoot your shot.
Hey, look, Mia Yim is a piece of work. All right. Anyway, Vince, please continue.
I mean, I was gonna go ahead and like wait till the later part where when it happened, but let's just talk about it right now and cover it all together.
No, because we already know what's coming up next. So
no, okay, hold up. I just want to keep that whole like Dakota Kai train going. So basically, what I'm saying was that after the cruiserweight number one contenders match, we had a backstage interview from Kathy Kelly with Team Rhea Ripley and Dakota Kai, and she was asking her what happened, like what was that happened, just getting her like thoughts on what transpired. And Rhea's like, that was badass, that was cool, like, did you see what happened? That's exactly what I need on my team. So the final member of Team Ripley is going to be Mia Yim, and Mia Yim is like, oh yeah, that's exactly what's up, like for real. I'm so stoked to be part of it, because she said something along the lines of she's been fighting her whole life, so going into a cage and fighting, that's just second nature to her. That's right where she belongs. But while that whole thing is transpiring, in the background you see Dakota Kai little more discouraged, dejected. She's just like she's almost sulking almost in the back. And then even Rhea turns around and looks at Dakota and it's like, I'm sorry, Dakota, but Mia just earned her spot. And Dakota just like told Mia like, yeah, you definitely deserved it, and just storms off. With that being said, you obviously said something about her being a lone wolf or just going on her own. I saw a friend of mine, and I actually was DMing another friend of mine. So I was talking to my friend Jesus, and he was saying maybe a heel turn. I saw
Jesus.
Yeah. I was also talking to my friend Martin, and we were all talking about, they were separate conversations, but we were both talking about perhaps Dakota turns heel, joins Team Shayna. What do you guys think about that? Like, would you be guys intrigued with a Dakota Kai heel turn, or do you think it'd be just too out of left field?
I don't think it'd be out of left field after like what's been going on with her, but like I think you'd have to handle it kind of carefully, but I don't think it'd be out of left field, and maybe that's what she needs, I don't know.
It'd be interesting because sorry, I don't mean to cut you off, Kevin, but what I've always been thinking is that Dakota Kai should be the one that dethrones Shayna Baszler, because there's a story there. She used to be bullied by Shayna Baszler over a year ago. She came back from this injury. Obviously, she didn't go right into that title picture. She wasn't thrusted in there. Maybe it's a slow burn thing. Maybe she turns heel, kind of like a Johnny Gargano thing, where like she loses her way and then eventually just discovers Dakota Kai, captain Team Kick again, and then goes back and triumphantly beats Shayna Baszler. because I think it's a long time coming, especially Dakota Kai. She's been put through the most by Shayna. Look at what Shayna's done. She turned Io heel, and she's and Bianca. She beat Bianca so bad that she doesn't know whether she wants to be a babyface or a heel week to week. So I know we were talking about Tainara, but Jay, your girl Bianca over there, like one week she's a heel, another depending on the situation, she feels like a tweener, obviously, but depending on the situation,
I like her like that. I perfect. Like let Bianca be Bianca. Like I'm just saying, just let her do her. Like there's like look, and this is just to come off a topic, just a tad little bit. All right,
right.
There are certain people that literally just need to do their own thing. Bianca is one of them. Because number one, that girl is strong as hell. Number two, I ain't never seen a big girl like that being able to do a freaking 450 splash on the top rope.
Yeah.
Number three, everybody knows she's with what's her name? Montez Ford.
Mm-hmm.
So everybody knows that they're together, and the Street Profits are pretty much face. They're over.
Oh yeah.
So, I mean, at this point, you might as well just let her do her own thing.
For sure.
To be quite honest with you.
I mean, fair points. It is interesting to see where this whole women's War Games match is going to be set up, because Shayna Baszler is still missing a fourth member, and I didn't see it myself, but I was informed by another friend on Twitter that the horsewoman that Shayna said that the horsewomen were actually going to be outside of War Games. They weren't actually going to partake in the match, so the open spot is still out there. And
okay, well, quick question.
Mm-hmm.
So I noticed that on Shayna's team, it is Bianca Belair and Io Shirai.
Right.
Yeah.
Aren't those two women that are like trying to get her title?
Exactly. Hey, that's a fair point. I was actually gonna say something like that. Like personally, I think this is how this shit's gonna end, and maybe, I'm gonna spoiler. I'm just gonna jinx it, but maybe Dakota Kai does like a subtle heel turn. She earns a spot, and then Dakota Kai, Bianca Belair, and Io all decide, screw this. Why are we fighting for Shayna? Screw this. Let's get the hell out of here. They leave War Games or whatever, and it's legit just Shayna just get beaten up by everyone in the women's division. That'd be a dope spot to see. And then Shayna can take that loss right there, and it won't hurt her because she basically just got attacked by the entire roster. So there's no harm done there. But
because it doesn't, like, that's what I'm saying. It doesn't. My thing is, sorry.
You good over there, sir?
Really, sorry about that, guys. I didn't mean to drop you.
Oh, you got a little just too excited from that talking about that women's War Games match. But
dude, like you got to realize, like, when I saw this, I was kind of like, so isn't Bianca Belair trying to go for the title as well?
Right.
Isn't Io Shirai trying to do the same exact thing?
Mm-hmm.
Like, like it just threw me off because they were literally just like fighting over the title before Survivor Series and War Games even came up. You feel me? So
yeah.
it's just like,
I mean, I'm interested to see what happens. I know you were super excited and like intrigued about that match, but I was also very excited and intrigued about the following match, which was Tony Nese versus my boy Angel Garza. God damn, this was a great match, guys. This was an amazing match. Okay, stop it, because stop it.
Look, I'm sorry. I just don't like when you have a boner about Angel Garza. I'm sorry. All right, I don't want to hear about your boner. Okay, I'm sorry.
Hey man, it is No Nut November. I am clean today. Which
yeah, okay. Well,
there is nothing going.
I'm sorry. That ship has sailed. I'm pretty sure you had a nice little moment when he had his wardrobe malfunction. So Anyway,
Okay, man, you're implying a lot of stuff, man.
you know what? You know I had to do it. You know I had to. It's part of my my NXT moment. All right.
Okay, so
I
look,
have to.
I'm not the only one that's like a big fan of Angel Garza because obviously Beth Phoenix loses her shit, and like over there, what's his name?
Beth Phoenix is bae. She can do that anytime. Beth Phoenix is bae. We've already discussed this.
What's the other guy's name? The other guy in commentary, I forgot his name. Not Morrow, the other guy.
Nigel.
Nigel McGuinness. Yeah, dude. Even Nigel gushes over Angel Garza. He legit called him the most beautiful man on earth. Like,
He
You know
did.
who else is
He
the most
did.
beautiful man? Not Angel Garza.
okay. See, you were going somewhere with that. It fell flat. Just like, just like Tony Nese did on this mat. Like freaking Angel Garza just like laid him out multiple times. It like legit. What I liked about the match
You hurt my soul with that. You
Okay.
hurt my soul with that one.
What I really liked about the match is it started off as like a ground control mat based style match. It slowly picked up the pace. It led up to the moment where like Angel Garza is trying to like does the whole wait, stop, tries to tear up the pants, but Tony Nese won't let him. They eventually fight it over into the corner. Tony Nese tries to set up Angel Garza for a top rope power bomb, but ends up just power bombing his pants right off.
Oh
of
my
him.
god.
I thought that was great.
And like, did you love that? Did you love that, Vince? That like that. I bet you just enjoyed that.
Yo,
That was like your moment.
Okay,
Mauro
okay.
Ranallo with the best call ever. I never thought I'd see Tony Nese power bomb a pair of pants, he says. And I literally, like, I LOL'd in real life. Like,
Dude, I mean, we've seen Ric Flair elbow drop a jacket, so why not power bomb a pair of pants? I mean, why not? It's 2019. Let's have wrestling matches with clothes.
Bro.
Right.
That's Ric Flair though. That's different.
Hey, Angel Garza is slowly getting some of that Ric
Angel
Flair
Garza?
drip all
Oh,
over
oh,
NXT,
stop.
man.
Stop.
Hey, man.
Stop.
Hey, man.
Stop.
Angel Garza, it's like the
Stop.
best thing to happen to NXT recently, man.
Oh my god. Oh my god. You are just gushing over this man. You need to stop.
Okay, so all right, perhaps you're right. Let's just fast forward to the end of this match, which I thought.
Let him get. I want him to get all of the gushing out. I want him to get all of it out.
Oh my gosh. Anyway.
Either way, the match was great. It was good. Like I loved every moment of it.
I think it was, to me at least.
Especially
I thought it was one of the better matches of the night. If not, maybe the first match, the opener between Dunn and Priest. I thought these two were like contenders for the best match of the night, just because they had.
What was that move that he did?
Who?
The finish that he
Okay,
did?
okay. So let's build up to that. So they start brawling back and forth. At one point, they go to the outside. Tony Nese hits a tornado DDT to Garza, throws him back into the ring. He sets up for his finisher, the 450 splash, hits it. 1, 2. Angel Garza with the slightest like foot on the rope you've ever seen, like breaks up the count. They go into a little strike duel back and forth. He does this weird like backflip thing leading into a power bomb. I thought it was like the coolest thing he's done, or I've seen like an NXT in a minute, because I've legit never seen that. Like, you can see a Canadian Destroyer anywhere, but he legit, it looked like he was trying to like do like almost do like a Canadian Destroyer, but then came back into a power bomb. It's pretty weird, but pretty cool at the same time. And then from there, he tried to do his finish that he had on Jack Gallagher, I believe last week or 2 weeks ago, where I know, Jay, you hated his springboard moonsault because you thought it was sloppy and didn't connect properly. And it looks like he might not be using that as his finisher, because he went for it. He went for the setup. Tony Nese had his feet up, but Angel Garza was smart enough, that veteran Mexican savviness that he has. He went ahead, saw the feet, like flipped Tony Nese over, super kick to the face, and then hits his new finisher, which he's used in the breakout tournament. He calls it the wing clipper. I thought it was great. It looks like a package power driver, like stunner jawbreaker thing. I don't know. I just think it looks cool. Jay, comparing this to his finish they use on Jack Gallagher
No,
personally.
I think it is way better.
Mm-hmm.
It's perfect for him. Um, like I feel like that match was really good.
For
Yeah.
sure.
Like for the if you want me to give you props on your boy Angel Garza, I'm giving you props right now.
Mm-hmm.
The man is good.
Yeah.
It was a good match.
Yeah,
It was a
I
really
think
good match.
I think it's safe to say you only really like bash him on the podcast because you know he's my guy, and you're over here just trying to give me shit
Of
about it.
course.
That's all
Of
it is.
course. I have to.
This,
I have to.
so for all of you guys
I have to.
listening,
Come
Jay
on now.
Thunder is not an Angel Garza hater. He probably stands on the low, but he just gives me shit. That's all that is.
Of course. Like
but-
if look, you got to think about it like this. If I don't do it, then who will?
True. I mean, Benji's not on the podcast anymore to give me shit about it, so you have to
Exactly.
take the reins.
I have to be the one because Kevin's not gonna do it.
I mean, Kevin's a
Nah.
nice guy. Kevin's a nice guy. He's probably like the nicest guy in the podcast, man. There's
Yeah,
not
see,
a
that's
there's
the
not
thing.
a there's not a
That's
single
the thing.
mean
That's
bone in
usually-
his body.
That's what I'm saying. That's usually my forte. But
Okay, Mr.
since we
Heel.
already since you know Kevin's the nice guy, I guess I have to turn over a new heel.
Yeah.
But
So
that leads me
So, yeah.
to the next thing that happened after the match. He makes his way to the top of the stage. Leo Rush music said he makes his way. Very impressed by what he's seen in Angel Garza, and honestly, who wouldn't be impressed? And he goes for a handshake, tries to do the sportsman-like thing. Angel Garza slaps the taste clean out of his mouth
No.
and walks away with like a mean smirk. Kevin, what you
Yo.
think? What you think about the match and then that whole slap to Leo Rush? What you
I
think?
mean, the match was a banger, just like you guys were saying, and then like, I don't know, like the slap and shit like that, like swagger for days. I'm concerned, like that was just badass. Like, yeah, you know, hey, did you see what I just did in the ring, and you want me to respect you? No, sir, no, sir. He said to Leo Rush, and got the fuck out of there.
And
wait, let me just
Okay.
add something onto that. So we were talking like we mentioned earlier about the whole situation with Tanara. I'm gonna go back to that because it looked like that was apparently that was either a face versus face match or that was a heel versus heel match.
No, okay, so
Because-
we've had this discussion, Jay, with Benji last time. I think it was like Benji's last podcast actually too. But we had the discussion. Even though he was a heel on main roster with Bobby Lashley, I think since he's shown up on NXT, it's kind of hard for him to shake off that heel like vibe to him because he just
No.
it's a natural
See,
heel.
I know where you're going.
But Leo
No,
Rush
I
is
know what you're
clearly
going with
the
that.
face here. Leo Rush is clearly
No,
the face here.
no. I know what you're going with that, but that's not what I was talking about. I was talking about with Tony Ness and Nice and
Okay.
and Angel Garza.
Okay. Yeah, I couldn't really understand.
Yeah.
I think they were both heel here. I think they were out trying to ab each other. Did you catch it at the start of the match? How like Angel Garza mocked him too. It's like he's kind of his ab. He's like, I got 8 abs too, you know. Even though he
Yeah,
probably doesn't.
yeah,
He probably, I
and-
think he barely has.
and
6.
that's my thing. Like I didn't know who was who because Angel Garza mocks him. Then they go for the lockup. Freaking Tony Ness. I think Angel Garza pulls the hair, and then Tony Ness pulls the hair too. So it's like
Yeah.
who's heel. So
True,
it was crazy because like I was trying to figure out who's who.
Okay, so yeah, it's one of those things where like you didn't really know, but obviously going into this Leo Rush Angel Garza match with that slap alone,
yeah,
you know
absolutely.
who's the heel
Yeah,
in
of
that.
course.
Yeah,
Yeah, you know
yeah.
who that is.
Okay,
I literally was just sitting there. I was sitting there and I was thinking to myself like, I could take Leo Rush seriously. Sometimes I can't take Leo Rush seriously because of the fact that his voice voice is just way too much for me, bro. Like I literally, he's like, all right, I see you, and like his voice is like you want to kick Leo Rush's ass with that voice. That's just too much.
He's a natural
Like
heel,
I tried to,
which is
like
interesting.
he's a natural heel.
Yeah, which is interesting because they're clearly like trying to make him a face here. I don't know.
But I mean, but I like for the most part, I'm happy for Leo's considering the fact that like all the backlash that he was going through.
Yeah.
Like more power to that man though.
For sure.
Seriously.
I mean,
yeah, good for him.
I mean, we're gonna have a really good match next week. Next week's episode is looking to be really good as well because we're gonna get that Garza versus Leo Rush match next week. But with the match we're gonna get to this week was Isaiah Swerve Scott versus Dominic Dijakovic. Overall, it was basically a match that Dijak was probably going to win here. Swerve Scott really got a lot of offense in there. He really showed us what he could do. He escaped out of Dijak's finisher the first initial time, the Feast Your Eyes. But in the end, he did get the Feast Your Eyes. Dijak picked up the win over Swerve Scott. I'm very impressed with Scott. I just don't know what his character is. I want to see more of him. I want to be more invested in the guy. Kevin, given that you haven't been on NXT for the NXT podcast for a while, what's your take on Dijak and Isaiah Scott?
Well, I tend to agree with what you said. I mean, I think that it was, pretty obvious that Dijak was going to win the match, which is fine. They obviously didn't make Isaiah Swerve Scott look weak by any stretch of the imagination, during the match. I mean, I like both of those guys. Here's one thing though, man. I hate Isaiah Swerve Scott's new music.
Oh, I love this old one.
What's that?
I love this the one he had for the tournament, the breakout tournament.
Yeah.
I don't know why they changed it. Oh, yeah, it's speaking of which, not to jump back into the Angel Garza conversation, but did you guys also notice that they changed his theme song like 2 weeks ago, and it hasn't been the same ever since? Like the other song had like a certain beat to it. He had like a completely different song. It sounds completely different. Like you can barely even hear his new song. And like the other one had like a really cool like beat to it, and it actually had like a Spanish version of like the Navi from Legend of Zelda, where it's like, "Hey, listen," but it was in Spanish. It's like that was
cool.
So that was one little like wrinkle that Angel Garza had in his own theme song that he doesn't have now. So just little food for thought there. But let's just move on, shall we? And let's talk about like the next thing that we had. Like we were talking, we are gonna get Angel Garza versus Leo Rush for the cruiserweight title next week. We're also gonna get a ladder match between Io Shirai and Mia Yim to determine who gets order like entry like advantage in their War Games match. Guys, this has to be the main event, right, for next week?
Oh my God, I can't imagine that it's not.
I mean,
I'm pumped.
For this one, I mean, obviously, I'm gonna go with my girl Io Shirai, but guys, quick predictions since
hashtag Mia Yim.
Okay, Kevin, who do you think would take this next week?
Man, it's hard. I got to give the edge to Io Shirai, honestly, just because
there you go. That's the right answer, Kevin.
I mean, I feel like the ladder match kind of plays to her strengths a little more. That's all.
For sure.
A normal match, I think, Mia Yim might have the edge, but with something like this, I think Io Shirai does.
I mean, they faced off against each other in the past a couple weeks ago, and Io Shirai went ahead and beat Mia Yim. So I think Io Shirai should be just fine taking on Mia Yim, but I'm biased. Let's go into the main event, shall we? We had AJ Styles, Luke Gallows, Carl Anderson, the OC, and NXT in the main event. That's just still surreal to even say, guys. Right? They took on Tommaso Ciampa, Matt Riddle, and Keith Lee. One thing that I did notice before the match even started, once the OC were in the ring, Matt Riddle made his entrance first. He looked really geeked about this main event, almost like, yeah, I'm having a match with some like a bunch of my friends and a couple top guys, man. Like, I'm just enjoying life. Like, Matt Riddle legit looks like he's enjoying life to the fullest. And then Keith Lee's music hits. And did you guys notice in the background he's over there just dancing in the background, just fanboying to like Keith Lee's music? He's like Just like he's basically like that one friend that always gasses you up no matter what you do. That's what I feel like Matt Riddle is with Keith Lee. Like Keith Lee is the guy that does like some really cool shit. Just like it's very cool. And then Matt Riddle in the background, like, yeah, that's my bro. Like I don't know. That's kind of how I got the idea from.
He's he's like the hype man in a rap group. You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
That's
I
what,
freaking
that's what
loved
Matt
it.
Riddle
And then,
is.
but it was just like a weird contrast because they both have a certain like feel and look to them, and then Ciampa comes out and it's complete 180 to how Riddle and Keith Lee are, but they made a great team. It was I don't know, it was really good. It started off kind of hot. They once Ciampa got out there, they both Team Ciampa stormed the ring. They attacked the OC. They brawled for a bit. They leaked to the outside. Mayhem everywhere before we ended up like settling in on Tommaso Ciampa versus AJ Styles to start things off. I gotta say that's really cool to just even see. Like I never thought I'd see Tommaso Ciampa versus AJ Styles, let alone in NXT. Kevin and Jay, like whoever wants to go first, in a nutshell or like overall, what did you like about this match, or what did you take away from this match? Either or.
I mean, you know, well, the one thing that you were saying, you know, with Tommaso Ciampa and AJ Styles, like, I mean, that alone is huge. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, that's like dream match status, you know. And it's always fun, you know, to watch Keith Lee, you know, big guy that can really freaking move. You know, and I mean, it was pretty much the top guys from NXT versus the top guys from Raw, really, when you get down to it. And they put on a hell of a show, you know. I mean, and of course, you know, the ending, which I'm sure we'll get into.
Oh yeah, we'll talk about it in a sec. But before we do, Jay, overall, man, what did you like about this match? What was the one thing that stood out to you?
Well, first of all, obviously anything with AJ Styles in it is great. For the most, look, we're not gonna like sit here and sugarcoat anything. AJ's always been my boy. Like I've loved AJ since TNA. So, for the most part, it was great. Like seeing Tommaso Ciampa back in action, because I think this was his first match?
No,
one?
his first match back, I think it was 2 weeks ago against Angel Garza. See, you keep throwing the Angel Garza. See, man, you trying to get me to talk about Angel Garza, man, but we trying to.
Oh no, that has nothing to do. First of all, that has nothing to do with me. Like literally, because I don't even remember him. But I was on the. Wait, hold on a second. Wait a minute. I was on the podcast 2 weeks ago. I don't remember that match happening 2 weeks ago.
Hey man, anything that Angel Garza does sticks in my brain, man. I remember that, and it gets recorded.
But it wasn't 2 weeks ago.
It was a couple weeks ago. It was like 2-3 weeks ago. Then it was some.
Yeah, I was about to say because remember that the last match that he had 2 weeks ago, which I was on that podcast, was with
Gallagher,
with, Jack Gallagher.
Okay, so then it was 3 weeks ago. Point still being made that his return.
Either way,
his return match.
But I was on that episode too.
Exactly. Goes to show where your memories at.
Either way, goes to show where your memories at. Like I said, I was on two. I remember. I've been on 2 other podcasts with you. So this is number 3. But either way, like the match was really good. Like I enjoyed just about every single moment of it. Like
the Keith Lee Gallows interaction, I thought was kind of cool.
Oh,
it was.
So good.
You know how I feel about the big guys. So
yeah,
Gallows for Gallows being.
We started to notice you have a type.
No, go ahead, bro.
No, that was all I was gonna say. Is that we've noticed you have a type.
Well, shut up. So, well, it's only because of the fact that, you know what, as a wrestler myself, as a big guy that can move.
You got a mean spirit, by the way.
Hey, Hey, you should show Kevin my spirit.
I'll send
It's
him the
pretty
clip.
cool.
I'll send him the clip.
You said in the clip,
Word.
the clip.
He gifted his own
But
spear, by the
anyway,
way. He went ahead and just gifted his own spear.
I get why not? I mean, you can do that. You can do that when you're an indie wrestler like me. You can do that.
Absolutely.
It's called representation. All right. Anyway, anyway, just in general, that big man spot was like really good, especially watching Luke Gallows and Keith Lee move. Like those are two big guys that even though they're big, they're big, hefty guys, and they're moving like they're 205. So.
Yeah.
So I enjoyed that a lot. Seeing, you know how I feel about Matt Riddle, but
Actually, I don't think Kevin does.
oh
no.
oh.
Okay,
Well,
just
Kevin,
brief
just to give you a little
summary.
heads up.
Tell him what you don't like about Matt Riddle.
No.
Oh, I already hear it in your voice. So I preferably like the character is okay. But I just feel like he's just another MMA guy that's just trying to get into the business. That's what I feel.
That's
mean,
a fair take. But specifically
was gonna say,
his style though is what I find interesting that you don't like about him.
No, it's not even the fact that I don't like his style. It's just the way that they have him built. Like, say for instance, remember when we were talking about the whole situation with Bronson Reed? Like, clearly he's not supposed to be picking up anybody that big. Like just off of one
Attempt
pickup. Like it's supposed to be a build up. Like it's supposed to be a build up. Like you don't like I'm not gonna pick up freaking Big Show off the first try. You see what I'm saying? Like I just don't like the way that they have him built. He's okay. Like I can't even fault him for being. He's a good worker. He does what he does.
For sure.
But I just like I said, I just feel like there's just more that needs to be done with his matches.
I mean,
like he shouldn't be picking up Keith. Like either way, he shouldn't be picking up Keith Lee in one go. He shouldn't be picking up Bronson Reed in one go.
Right.
Like, come on, man.
I mean,
like it would take me it would take me a minute to pick him up.
True. I mean, one thing that they do right in his match, especially in this match, was that he did not tag into this match until like towards the end of it. Legit towards the end, he got the hot tag. Yeah. The crowd was doing the Goldberg-esque Riddle chants. They were like, Riddle. They're really going into that whole Matt Riddle just trashing Goldberg. Like, I don't know if you saw last week, Kevin, but he hit the jackhammer on Bobby Fish, and they got like barely a 1 count.
No shit.
Yes. So Matt Riddle's really into it. So he gets the hot tag. They're going back and forth, just like a bunch of action going left and right, non-stop action. Then at some point it gets to, honestly at this point, like I'm trying to like scramble to get the show together, and I'm also trying to keep up with everything. I got a million things going on at once, but eventually it does lead to AJ Styles, and it does lead to No. Okay. Time out. I'm getting ahead of myself. It was Keith Lee. Keith Lee goes ahead and does like one of his pounces on AJ, but he also gets the ref at the same time. So he knocks out the ref and he knocks AJ out. Goes and does a freaking another flip to the outside. Craziness back and forth. AJ is in the ring. He is being isolated by Tommaso Ciampa. He hits his finish. I don't know if he does hit it or is about to hit it.
He was about to.
He was about to hit the story, the fairy tale ending. I believe that's what it's called. And sure enough, the old broski over there, Finn Balor, one of the OGs, comes out. His music hits. Ciampa is distracted. He makes his way to the end of the ramp and hits like the freaking 1916 on poor Matt Riddle. and just stares
Which
down.
is just an execution. We all know what that is.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, when he really gets some hang
We all
time
know
on
what
it,
that is.
he legit gets some vertically, kind of like a stalling suplex into like a DDT type thing. That wasn't the best one he's hit by any means, but it's still a very devastating move. In any case, and it was enough to get the distraction on Tommaso Ciampa, and AJ Styles like gets the upper hand. He has a whole moment with Finn too, where he throws up the too sweet, and Finn goes and does the finger guns. You know, throw in a little reference and homage to their time as Bullet Club leaders, even though they were never like in Bullet Club at the same time together. But clearly they have some kind of alliance together now that Finn's heel. I mean, obviously he has this NXT allegiance, and they also have the Raw allegiance, but you know, the club might be for life, as they like to say, you know. And yeah, AJ was gonna go and pick up the win here, but Adam Cole comes in and gets his revenge on AJ Styles for being attacked at the start of the show, attacks him, and he decides, screw it, I'm just gonna hit a last call on Tommaso Ciampa too. And then he's literally standing tall. Mauro Ronaldo is trying to make sense of things. It's like, okay, I get you attacking AJ. You know, brand supremacy. He attacked you earlier, but why attack Ciampa? He's legit on Team NXT, but at the same time, they're facing each other at War Games. So it's like, that's what's interesting about this whole invasion angle, is that NXT has their own thing that they're setting up for at War Games. And
Right.
a lot of people, like especially like Ciampa and like Adam Cole, they were on the same side on Raw, but they're also on opposite ends come War Games. So it was kind of interesting. And what I really like was fascinated about, and I'm curious to see where they go from here, is that Adam Cole kind of like did his undisputed era time, and he like was staring down Finn, and Finn was staring him down. But they both like kind of like smirked at each other, almost as to say, like, yo, we don't got any beef, but we're not cool. But I see you. Real recognizes real. I see what you're doing. I got nothing against what you're doing. Go ahead, do you, boo. Um, personally, I don't know what to make of it. And then NXT goes off the air like that. What the one thing that I will say that I hated about the ending was the ref was knocked out and the match didn't end. This goes back to how the first, I think it was Keith Lee versus Dijak. No, it was, I think, Matt Riddle versus Killian Dane. How they brawled to the backstage area. Then they went to the front. It was a brawl between the entire roster and never had a clear victor or a clear ending. So I don't know if there was anything on Twitter or social media where they clarified as to who won or what happened here. Clearly, they probably did that because obviously they don't want the OC to take a loss here. You know, given that they're the top act over on Raw and on main roster, but they also don't want the three of the top stars in NXT to lose here. Personally, did it bother you guys at all? Like it did me that there was no finish at all?
I wasn't. I mean, I hear what you're saying, and like at first, I kind of was like, "Oh, that was stupid," but then I thought about it, and it was like, I kind of like saving some of that kind of stuff, you know, for Survivor Series almost.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like having that, you know, cliffhanger almost kind of an ending to it. You know, I mean, obviously, I don't think, you know, that we're going to get the same match at Survivor Series, but like the overall story for it, you know, where it was like neither brand really got anything over on each other.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But yeah, I mean, I hear what you're saying too, because like I said, my initial reaction to it was like it was just a non-finish. But I don't know. I think that it was a good finish for the overall story of what's going on.
Jay, what do you think?
For the most part, I was kind of like, why didn't you guys finish the match?
Thank you.
Kind of, I was kind of like, why didn't you guys just finish the match? Like, God.
Yeah.
But I do understand what Kevin is saying about, like, you know, leaving that cliffhanger there. It works. So at the end, like, as much as I would have loved for that match to finish, it still worked out.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
I'm down for it.
But with that being said, I think that's a great way to wrap things up. Anything else you guys want to add about today's show before we close things off? Any last final thoughts?
Let's get hashtag Mia Yim. Let's get that going. Mia Yim, add me at JThunder2009 Instagram and Twitter.
Well, that's where they can find you, Kevin. They can obviously find you on Twitter at KevinCrazy316. Yeah, correct. And that's Kevin,
Yep.
and that's crazy with a K.
Yeah, that's the bottom line.
Because Kevin said so. Exactly. There you
Give
go.
me a hell yeah.
That's the bottom
Hell
line.
yeah. And obviously you can find me at SCS Vince on all social medias. You can find the show at SmackRock Pod. Go ahead and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Download this episode. If you like the show, give it a thumbs up. Give it a great review on iTunes. It really helps us out. If you're on Spotify, don't just play it. Go ahead and hit that download. It helps our numbers. It helps our exposure, and helps the show get just like
To be honest,
get into more households.
To be honest, it's a great show. So I don't know why you're not listening right now.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Just saying. And guys, I also just wanted to just plug that out there. As you guys know, I am a indie wrestler for Chicago. We are having one of our final events for the year. It is at Gearin Prep High School for CSW. You guys can come. It's at Gearin Prep High School, and it will be November 16th. So if you guys want to check it out, you guys can. Definitely come on to our Facebook page. If I'm not mistaken, it is Chicago Style Wrestling, and also for Instagram, it is Chicago Style Wrestling. So
for sure,
if you guys want to check it out, it would definitely be awesome.
If you want to see some great Chicago indie wrestling, go ahead and check it. Hit up Chicago Style Wrestling on the 16th of November. You can find us on every Wednesday night covering NXT. We also do Raw, SmackDown, AEW, the whole shebang. Keep an eye out for our predictions. The whole shebang. But with that being said, this has been the Smack Raw podcast, guys. We'll see you later.
Deuces.
Bye.
Hey, did you guys see that the Bulls won?